Hey guys, welcome to StewTube. It's April 13th and today I'm going to do something a little extra for you guys. I'm going to do a little short-term analysis on Bitcoin, but I'm also going to be tackling Tesla as well as EOS token. So with that, let's jump right into Tesla because everyone loves it. I had mentioned in a previous video about Tesla that I had this red downtrend line forming. This is on the 1 hour chart, and I said we had to break above it before we could start gaining any ground. My trend line may look like it's moved a little bit. Turns out I was in the logarithmic scale earlier. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. But anyways, I've adjusted it, and it basically played out the same anyways. As soon as we broke above, it wasn't perfect. We did kind of flirt going above below, but eventually we did continue to respect it, took our bounce, and we also formed this little bit of a triangle here, and you guys know I love triangles. So I decided for the first time ever I was going to finally buy one Tesla stock, my very first. I'm not really looking at for surely holding on to it long term here. I'm kind of looking for take profits at this point. I got in just over $500. I believe it was somewhere in this cluster here. Basically, I'm kind of watching how this yellow box works as resistance because we've had previous trading action in this box. And it just looks like it may have a bit of confluence in the price action, so we're very close to testing the top of it right now. We did have no problem busting into it, and I think one of the reasons for that is whether you want to look at this as a triangle or a bull flag, the measured move would be the same from the breakout point. And our breakout point is closer to, our measured move is closer to $730 if the full measured move is to play out. One other thing that we can look for is if we pull out our Fibonacci retracement, if we go from our swing high to our swing low, we can take a look. There's some general numbers here. The 0.618 and the 0.5 fib are respected quite often when it comes to pullbacks in markets. And right now we are currently flirting with the 0.5. And if we do break above this yellow box, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see the bottom of this red box because again we have trading action previously in these areas. And also our 0.618, which is the golden retracement that you see with trend reversals quite often, or more so continuations, because we have our downtrend and that is just our retracement, our bounce up, which quite often will line up with that before the trend continues. So that doesn't have to happen. We could just blast right through it, you never know, but I'm just looking at it as a potential take profit because the measured move also gets very close to that number right there. So I think the bottom of this box, I might even go just below 700, probably about 695. I'll be looking to take profits if we get there, just to play it safe and just to book in a little extra cash, and then I want to buy it back cheaper, hopefully. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with Tesla right now. If I switch over to Bitcoin, I believe when I was recording yesterday we were trading in this cluster right here, and I had mentioned that I was hoping that it was going to play out as a bull flag because that would have been a beautiful addition to the play that I already had entered down here and took profits a couple different places on the way up. But anyways, I added to a play here hoping we'd get a bull flag, but I did say I was going to be stopped out for profit anyways, even with adding risk to my position, just because my average entry was still so good at that point that I was not actually adding any risk to the play, so that's why I was willing to do that. But what ended up happening is we got this 15-minute close below that pattern that I mentioned yesterday I thought might potentially be a little descending triangle, which it was. So I did take all of my profits on that long at that point, and then I actually flipped to shorting immediately, and I took profits right here just because of this little cluster right here. I didn't ladder out or anything. I took all my profits there, so right along here, and I was okay with it. I did miss this whole move, but I thought the market was still bullish enough that we weren't going to get that far of a dump, so I'm okay with the profits I took there. If we zoom out to the 4 hour, I'm still on the 15-minute here, but you see this purple line that we're respecting? That's the one that I've been following for weeks now. It was our bit of a downtrend here. 1 touch point, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had our little breakout, got a nice little move. We even tested it here again if I were to zoom in, doing the resist support flip. And even though we have been selling off, we broke this red trend line, we have been respecting this bigger downtrend line, and it would not really surprise me if we were to, you know, we have this one bounce, take another bounce, and then almost treat this like a bit of a falling wedge and test up further to this next line. Does that have to happen? No, it really doesn't, but that's just something worth watching. It might not be as bearish as things look right now. Sorry about that. As for right now, you guys know that I played this yellow triangle here. I played a beautiful long there, and we got shut down by the next triangle, and I was actually expecting that to happen with this. We broke right through this triangle. I was thinking it did look like we were starting to struggle with breaking through it again, but now we have actually started to consolidate on top of that. So I am tempted to play a little long, but I want to see how this plays out with this red trend line here, because those are the trend lines I have been more so playing. And that could very easily be resistance at this point still, so we're going to have to see what happens with that. And even after we break that, we're looking at another potential resistance line with this red line here, and then from there we have back into that triangle. If we can break above that, let's say we can start closing above these lines and eventually above this one, I think we have potential to make a much larger move up, but we'll have to see. These are just kind of good targets for taking profits if you are looking at little snipes, but of course none of this is financial advice. Do your own research. These are just my opinions about how I'm looking at it. When I get into these trades, I'm well aware of the risks, and I am willing to get back out of a trade. My analysis can change very quickly because I am playing these very small time frames, like 15-minute patterns. So with Bitcoin right now, it's not super clear to me, so I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens right now for a little bit. And then last but not least, we have EOS coin, and just recently I've been kind of wanting to see if these downward trend lines are working in the altcoin market also, because some of these altcoins have explosive moves and I would love to catch them with similar patterns. I don't really feel the need to play them necessarily, because it is just basically like playing with higher leverage, because they move harder than Bitcoin generally. You're going to win harder, you're going to lose harder. But I can, if I have more pairs to watch, I can look for my exact patterns that I love to play and find more of them, rather than wanting to feel like I have to jump into trades that I'm not as confident with. So today I figured I would do a little test run. Had this yellow downtrend line here that formed, just kind of watched. Yes, it did in fact get that break, but as soon as it started to show resistance, even got this little double top here along this line, I decided to make that a trend line. And then I was wanting to see how that would be respected. So here, if we start here, we have our 1 touch point, 2, 3, this red doji candle also touched. So we have 4 touch points. So to me, that was a confirmed line. We had our green candle close there. So as soon as that closed, I entered a long at 35.23. And this is EOS compared to Bitcoin, not compared to the US dollar, just to make that clear. I was only in this trade for a very short while. I took profits around this green line. I just wanted to see how this would play out. This was more of a test run. It was a very small trade, but that's just something that's kind of on my radar right now, is I want to open up the possibilities of finding or trading more pairs, just so that I can find my comfortable patterns more so. So that's just kind of an update in my world on these 3 things that I've been watching lately, and hopefully you guys are kind of learning something or agreeing with my analysis. If you're not, let me know in the comments why. If you do agree with it, let me know why. Give me a like. Let me know if you want me to do anything specific in the future, if there's any other pairs you'd like me to watch. I was thinking about watching like Cardano and Ripple and Tron and stuff like that, the basic big altcoins, but we're gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to start watching these patterns a little more and maybe start doing some public analysis on those as well. Anyways, guys, have a good week ahead of you. Stay safe out there, and peace out.